Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki Jai. The Supreme Master by Akiral Bharadwaj Garu. This book. My conviction in the efficacy of the study of an account of great science such as the present work is partly born out of the manner in which I was inspired to write it and the manner in which it came to be accomplished. I first read about the great Swami of Akalkot in the accounts of the life of Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi. And as many as my first visit to Shirdi may be called the starting point of my conscious spiritual journey, I was specially attracted by Sri Sai Baba's claims of his oneness with the Swami and the latter's acknowledgement of the same on a few occasions. I was at first impelled to know as much about the Swami as possible, chiefly to find out whether further details of their spiritualization and at one meant can be gained. But the barrier of language seemed to render my desire impossible of fulfillment, as the Swami's life was then available in Marathi only. Years passed and this desire remained dormant. In May 1972, I happened to attend the spiritual camp that Sri Satya Sai Baba conducted for students at Whitefield. I stayed there I stayed there in his blessed presence for a week and had his darshan every day. After the first 2 days, I wished I could plan my out of the darshan hours for some elevating activity, possibly writing the life of some holy saint. The same day, I come into contact with a young man from Sholapur, Mr. Dhonsle. One day, as we were talking together, I expressed my wish to know about the great Swami of Akkalkot, and that the desire is roused whenever I come across an English knowing Maharashtrian. I told Mr. Dhonsle how I wish that some such person should read out the account of Saint's life in Marathi and explain it to me in English. He was pleased with my suggestion and he said that the only book he had brought with him to Bangalore to read during leisure hours is a Marathi work on the life of the very same saint. When he said that, Swami himself might have prompted him to pick up that book before starting for Whitefield, and that the same Swami might have brought about our meeting there in the holy presence of another great saint, he was echoing my heart's feelings. I was overjoyed. The same afternoon, he started reading the book and explaining it to me. The next day, another young man, Mr. Dikshit, an architect from Nagpur, joined us in our reading. He was a close friend of Mr. Dhonsle. Together, they did their best for me. What is more, this Mr. Dikshit strongly believes that Sri Satyasai is a reincarnation of the saint of Shirdi. So he added that the work that was being done through us in the presence of Sri Satyasai has his full blessings too. The writing went on for about 4 days, and we just finished it at about noon on a Thursday, which is specially holy to devotees of Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi and of Sri Swami of Akkalkot. The moment we stopped our reading, we were told that Sri Satya Sai Baba was coming out to give darshan to the devotees. We at once took our seats in the rows of squatting visitors. Soon Sri Baba walked along the rows of devotees, and as he passed before us, he cast a gracious, piercing glance at me, took a step towards me, and suddenly materializing a little vibhuti with the wave of his hand, poured it in my hand and said, I am pleased with you, child. Why was he pleased with me in particular, and why particularly on that day and at that moment, it is all clear as daylight. I felt very happy to receive Sri Baba's blessings for my meritorious work. Later, before I left Whitefield, I got the manuscript containing my jottings of our readings consecrated by Sri Baba's touch. Later, during the Navaratri holidays in 1972, I visited Manikyanagar and Gangapur from there, and from there proceeded to Akkalkot. There I took darshan of Sri Gajanan Maharaj, to whom I have referred in this book. When I was graced with a brief interview with the great Maharaj after praying for his blessings, I told him of my unpublished book on Sri Swami Samarth in English and requested him to permit me to read out the script to him once before publishing it for any possible corrections. Sri Gajanan Maharaj smiled most benignly and, bestowing his gracious spiritual gaze on me, said that what I wrote was all right and needed no corrections. I was amazed and overjoyed at the same time by what he said. The Holy One knows what I wrote and kept elsewhere. He then instructed one of his disciples to give me a small pamphlet in Hindi on Sri Swami Samartha and tell me to go through it before sending my script to the press. I did so promptly on my return home. Just before leaving Akalkot, I visited the Samadhi tomb of Sri Swami Samartha and the holy banyan tree which was dear to him. When I was mentally bowing to Sri Swami Samartha and taking leave of him, some stranger seated in a nearby room beckoned to me and handed me a color picture of Swami's photograph. What is more, he refused to accept any payment from me. Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi had demonstrated many times how a great saint's picture is not different from the saint himself. So I thought I have the Swami's acceptance of my humble offering of a book. After all, my purpose in writing this book is none other than affording non Maharashtrians a glimpse into the glorious treasure of the Datta Sampradaya as represented by the great saints of Maharashtra. And if the Holy Swami had not blessed me with this pious intent, like a mercenary teacher, would I not have misused my pen and ink for cheaper and commercialized writing, and that for mere money making? That the Supreme Master Sri Swami Samarth of Akkalkot has willed the composition of this book in 1973 is indicated by an anecdote recounted by Sri V.V. Dhotre, chapter 13 of biography of Sri Swami Samartha Akkalkot Maharaj by Sri N.S. Karandikar. I had the fortune of knowing Yogiraj Sri Swami Rama. I prostrated at his feet. He assured me thus, Mr. Dhontre, you are under the supreme protection of Sri Swami Samarth. You have nothing to fear. He is eternal, immortal. Do continue doing worship at the feet of the mighty Master. His grace will be your armor forever. Mr. Ellis, Swami Rama's American disciple, was also with him then. She was thrilled to hear these words and said, Swamiji, it may be true that Sri Swami Samarth is the all pervading being, but how can the people get to know him and understand his life unless his biography is available, that is in English? Swami Rama closed his eyes and exclaimed, why not? His biography in English will appear before long and will be available to the English knowing world. Wait and see. It will later appear in German, French, and other languages too. The prophecy of Sri Swami Rama was made in 1965. Thus, my first acknowledgement of debt should go to Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi, who prompted me with the idea, then to Sri Swami Samartha of Akkalkot, who prompted Mr. Dhonsley to pick up precisely that book which I needed while starting for Whitefield. Then to Sri Satya Sai Baba, who brought Mr. Dhonsley, Mr. Dikshit, and me together and materialized the pious intent, and who later blessed its fulfillment. My deep debt is to the writer of the book which Mr. Dhonsley read out to me. Though I carefully noted his name on a paper so as to mention it here, the paper was misplaced accidentally, and any number of letters to Mr. Dhonsley regarding it never secured the reply. Probably the business of our meeting, that is, my meeting with Mr. Dhonsley, was over. All the same, my debt to that blessed author remains acknowledged here and in my heart. Then to Mr. Dhonsley and Mr. Dikshit, I owe a deep debt of gratitude for the infinite plans they had taken to put the contents of book to me as clearly as possible. Later, when I visited Shirdi, Sri Sivanation Swami, one of the very ardent devotees of Sri Sai Baba, lovingly read out and explained to me the contents of another big volume in Marathi on the life of the same Swami, and I could thus supplement my collection of the facts. My gratitude goes to him, and the beauty of it all is that Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi, who prompted the desire in me, was hereby assuring me that it was he that was trying to give the finishing material for the book at Shirdi through his devotee. My gratitude goes to the author of the second book on Sri Swami Samarth that Sri Sivanation Swami read out to me at Shirdi. My humble and grateful thanks are due to Sri Gajanan Maharaj, who blessed my work and encouraged me to go ahead with my plans to print the same. Then I acknowledge my indebtedness to Mr. Karandikar, from whose book I have quoted the passage above. Last but not least of all, my gratitude is to my beloved student and fellow spiritual seeker T.D. Krishnamurti of Vidyanagar, who took immense trouble to take down as I dictated the book in its final form. There is only one regret, that I could not include in this book that photograph of Sri Swami Samarth in which he is been smoking his puff of hookah, for it is connected with a miracle recounted in this book. All my efforts to get it have failed. Sri Swami Samarth knows what is right and what is needed, and it behoves me to rest content in his wiser guidance. The author. Jai Sai Master.